This is Benjamin Franklin talking to one of my favorite fans and followers and friends. That would be Bee and, of course, her darling mother. Hello, Amber. How are you? You have invited me along on this marvelous quest of yours, and so I've come back from my time of the American colonial period to speak to you with a few interesting tidbits about history and about the various things that I was interested in, and still am. So your old friend, Benjamin Franklin, is going to guide you on a bit of a treasure hunt, and I hope that these things prove an interest to you. Did you know, for example, that I have 2 birth dates? Did you know that I'm the only founder to be in an American Sports Hall of Fame? Did you know that I played musical instruments? Some of these we'll explore in these various little visits that I'm going to have for you. But first we're going to talk about the library. And I think that you're maybe on a trip to a library. Libraries, of course, have been around for millennia. There was the Library of Alexandria. Sadly, it burnt down, I understand. And, of course, great churches and great universities have had libraries for hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of years in some cases. But they were not public libraries. You could only access them if you had the right key, the right membership, or the right social standing. And so our idea was to buy books, and if you subscribe to the library, our library company, then you could come in and check out books and take them home and read them, and then return them, of course, in good condition. But what about people who could not afford a subscription? Well, in Philadelphia, they could just walk in and read the book in the rooms. Give us a little bit of coinage if they had it, or if not, then their intelligence, their increased knowledge would be of benefit, so much benefit to the general well-being of my beloved adopted home of Philadelphia, that would be repayment enough. So the library that you have is a grandchild of that idea that I and my friends, of course, of the junto, came up with to improve the world. And I understand the lending library, has taken off quite well. I hope you enjoy your visit there, and we'll talk again in the next little snippet. Hello again for part 2 now of our little visits. And I understand that you are going to the City Hall. Well, the City Hall is an icon to government, to people who are dedicated, or who should be, in the care and the well-being, the education, and the greater happiness of the people who live in that city. So I hope that you enjoy that. I worked in many avenues, many different buildings, many different positions in the government of Pennsylvania and in the colonial powers, and then eventually in the United States of America, as young as we were, and as unorganized and underfunded and as troubled and as argumentative. But still, it is to be hoped that public servants, serving the public first, can bring together the variety of ideas, the complexity of different thoughts, all working towards the goal of improving life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness for everyone. We'll do so, and your world will be improved. I hope you enjoy your visit to City Hall. I hope that those people there respect you well and recognize that you are their boss. again for part 3 of our little visits. I understand that in your town of Everett, there is a hall dedicated to the Union of Electricians. This is very interesting to me, for as you know, I played a lot around with electricity, which of course people should not be playing with electricity, but I experimented with it. I looked it over. I did not discover electricity, of course, as some people think, but I rather discovered a way to test that lightning and electricity was the same thing, something which I think helped influence a great deal of mental shift, if you will, of people's attitudes towards our ability to protect ourselves from a natural occurrence. Many people thought electricity was the punishment of the heavens coming down to destroy the sinners. And if my house caught on fire, then from a lightning strike, yes. No, there's no dare. Do not worry. It's my cat. There is no lightning strike here. You have nothing to fear. That they should let my house burn down. But if your house caught fire next to mine, then they would come and put it out. And that would be, yes, next door. You want to move to next door now? I see. The cat wants to move to next door now. So that's an interesting thing. But that is still proof that the ideas that we were experimenting with, I and my Junto and my fellow experimenters here and in Europe, for indeed some of the experiments that I proposed were done as far away as China and all over Russia and France and Germany and all other lands as well. Italy. Amazing. So the Union of Electricians, huzzah for them. I'm glad that they are still using it, and maybe they found a useful use for electricity. On to the next project. Oh my. This one's tiny. Indeed, penny whistle was one of the instruments that I knew how to play. The guitar, yes, the guitar and harp, and of course the instrument that I invented, the glass harmonica. That's A-R-M-O-N-I-C-A, not harmonica, but harmonica. And I hope that you can find some recordings of the harmonica. It is a lovely sounding instrument. So the next institution that I'd like to talk about and introduce you to, because I believe you have one there in your hometown, is a fire department. Now, we have been putting out fires for as long as there has been fire, but we created a fire company, which was a slightly different idea. We bought equipment that the public could own shares in, and we would gather together and have pumping tanks that would roll up and be able to have people man the pumps and force the water out of the tank through the hose and help put out fires. We also recommended many building techniques that would help prevent the spread of fire, including having a trap door in the roof, so you could open it up and put out sparks that were beginning to catch the roof thatch or the shingles on fire. We also recommended in the space in the walls to have fire breaks, that is heavy wood that was be in the breaks, in the walls, so the fire would not be able to just instantly flue up the insides of the walls. And of course, the lightning rod, which was very important in helping direct the flame of the heavens, the lightning strike, down through the lightning rod, grounded into the ground, which would help alleviate some of the fires and explosions that lightning was wont to cause. So I hope that you enjoy your modern fire houses, for they are indeed brave souls that are there simply to protect you. How marvelous. So, back again shortly with another tidbit. Hello again for, what is this, number 5 now, I think? Well, but we're just ripping through this. In case you happen to want to drive by a hospital. Well, of course, hospitals have been around for a while. But an idea that my friends and I had was that there should be a free hospital. and we began a little clinic, which now is part of the University of Pennsylvania. But back then it was but small. But the idea was that if only the rich could afford health care, well, then what were the poor to do, the people who were doing the majority of the hard work? If one of them fell and broke an arm, then where would they go to set it? Well, if they couldn't afford the fee of the doctor, well, then they would be lame for the rest of their life and could not be as productive and keep to their families. So it made sense that a clinic be established free of charge to those who could not afford to pay. So you see, I'm an early advocate of universal free health care. Moving on. You might have been wondering when the actual song was going to come up. That wasn't a song in my time, but I've learned it from yours. So this one is about print shops and newspapers. I believe your town probably has at least one. I think I've been in it, actually, on the front page of the Arts and Entertainment section many years ago when I was performing at ACT Theatre. So, yes, the Everett Herald. And I ran a newspaper. I worked for many newspapers. As a matter of fact, by the power of my quill, I made a great deal of my own fortune. By printing, by the almanac, of course, the newspaper, and by influence, many of the documents, many of the articles that were read, many of the arguments for independence. After, of course, I spent 70 years as a loyal British subject. So the power of the word is still yet powerful. So if you go by a print shop, even if it's all machines now, I was a printer. Now you may have a printer on your desk, but I am a printer. That is what it says on my tombstone. Indeed, I'm very proud of that fact. So, if you see a printer today, say hello from good old Ben. Hello, for I think this is now part 7, my goodness. And I'm going to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, the postal office that you still have in your town. Yes, I certainly did not invent mail. I did not invent the mail service. I simply helped improve it as a royal deputy postmaster for the colonies. And then when we had our little disagreement with England, I was appointed as the general postmaster general for these new colonies, called the United States. The post office is a marvelous institution. The people work very hard, at least the postal people. I don't know so much about the postmaster general in your time, but the post office people are very nice and very hardworking. And you should tell them hello from Ben and enjoy the marvelous experience it is to be able to take but a few pennies and send a letter across the world. Oh, it's astounding that can be done. The one difference is that you have stamps. We did not. I mailed a letter, and the person who received the letter usually paid the postage. Then, a difference. So, I hope you've enjoyed our little tour, and maybe there'll be more of these coming. Take care, and thank you very much for celebrating your birthday with me. Your humble servant and friend, Benjamin Franklin.